Yo guys, welcome to my first impressions video of Expedition League. In this video I'm just going to give my opinions on the new league and the changes and everything. I'll throw my lab videos that I didn't get around to releasing for the last league in behind just so you guys can see what I got at the end. So without further ado, here we go. So to start out, we're just going to talk about the new league first. I'm pretty interested in it. It looks a lot better than the last two. It just seems like there's more to do other than click on something and a bunch of monsters come out and you kill them. I feel with this league there's like kind of stuff to work towards as well, where I found that was kind of lackluster in the last couple leagues. It seems like there's just more progression in this one than there is in the other ones. To me, progression makes you always feel like you're working towards something instead of just clicking on something and killing a bunch of monsters. It just keeps me engaged personally. I'm interested to see how the league mechanic is going to play in maps. It almost seems like it's kind of going to be like Blight, which I hope not, because Blight you kind of just stood around clicking on stuff for a while not killing stuff. I feel that in a way, watching the video with the bombs and stuff, you're going to be spending time like making sure that your bombs are perfect and everything before you detonate them, and it kind of might pull you out of the immersion of the game. I'm not 100% sure about the immunities either, but at least you have a choice if you want to do the immunities or not. We'll have to see if the loot makes it worth it or not. I am happy that they're bringing back bosses again, and it doesn't seem like it's on an RNG thing like it was in Ultimatum. I watched a little bit of the interview with Chris, and they said that some of the expeditions that you go on will actually have a mod on it that says this area will contain a boss. So you can actually like trade for them and stuff, or run them later on a different character instead of it being like, here's a random boss and you're on a mapping character instead of on your bossing character. It seems like in this one, like the way the bosses will spawn is you'll have to blow up something and it will put a hole in the ground, kind of like Abyss. It seems like they're pulling in a lot of influences from their last league, and hopefully they make it better. Like with Abyss, chasing the thing around was really annoying, but this one it just seems like it's in the same area. When it comes to the ward mechanic, I kind of like the idea, but I'm not totally sold on it. From what it sounded like in the video, if you have like 1,000 ward on your character to soak up a hit, but you get hit for 5, it's gonna take that whole 1,000 away, so I'm not sure what I feel about that. It almost kind of seems redundant, but maybe I'm just overthinking it or something. Like, I'm hoping it has it so if you have 1,000 ward that it will absorb 1,000 damage before you start taking damage from your health, but we will have to see. I'm going to assume that there's going to be passive nodes on the tree as well to lower the cooldown from 5 seconds to whatever, maybe like 2. And I really like playing evasion characters as well, so if this is like a good mechanic, I think it can be good with that. Usually with evasion characters, you would dodge like 4 hits and then you get trucked, and then you dodge 4 hits again, get trucked. So it'll be good just to soak up the truck hit. When it comes to the NPCs, I kind of like how each one of them's different. You have one that likes to barter, so it's like, well, I don't want to pay 500 for this. I'm going to offer you like 300 or something and see if he gets mad, or like counter offers or something. I always enjoy doing stuff like that. You have one that brings back gambling. I'm going to assume it's kind of like what it was in Diablo 2, which is kind of cool. I like that. It just seems to fit in a game like this. Hopefully you can get good uniques and stuff from it as well. And then you have the crafting guy that will, if you give him extra money, you will be able to craft more stuff on your weapon or armor or whatever you got. I just hope it kind of follows like what the weapons rolled. So for instance, like if you have like a caster scepter, it won't start rolling, adds 1 to 2 lightning damage to attacks or something useless. We will see though. I'm hoping the expeditions will be a lot of fun as well. Apparently you buy them from the other NPC. I was watching a little bit of the video on it. I think it's kind of neat that you can blow up and open up secret pathways and stuff. Kind of like what Delve is, where you get all the best loot behind there. I hope it has that same kind of reward feeling that Delve had when you blew up a wall. It's like, yay, I made like 3 or 4 chaos in here or something. We will have to see with that one as well, though. Hopefully it's good. When it comes to the skill gems, some of them look good and some of them didn't look good. I'll quickly go over them all just to give my first impressions of them. For Explosive Concoction, I kind of am excited about this one a little bit. I'm going to wait and see what kind of builds people come up for it. But as a Pathfinder, it looks really, really good. I don't know if it'll be good for any other character, especially if you want a boss, because you kind of need the flash charges for that. Eye of Winter looks pretty good. It looks just like Frozen Orb from Diablo 2. Hopefully it feels good and it's good. Hopefully Pierce works good with it. Apparently more projectiles only work for when it blows up at the end. We will have to see though. Spectral Helix looks It looks okay. I'm probably not going to play it though. It's not really my type of skill. Forbidden Right looks like it could be pretty good. You'd have to do like an Occultist max Chaos and then max your Chaos more, or go CI with it. It could probably do well, but we'll have to see. I'm probably not going to try this one now. Rage Vortex looks like it could be pretty good. In the interview with Chris Wilson, he said that was like an early game part of it because I guess it gets as big as a whole screen. If a Helm enchant comes out where it's like you can have two of them, I think it would be really good, but right now there's only a maximum of one on the screen. I might try it someday. I've never ever played a Berserker, so maybe that could be like a future thing. We'll have to see though. Voltaic Burst looks pretty good to me. I think it would go really well with like Archmage. If you can get it where you're like really low on mana and then you get the spell damage boost from Archmage, I think you can have a pretty chunky skill there. Storm Rain for me didn't really look like anything special. It seemed like most of the damage came from the initial hit and not from the lightning thing. And it suffers from the whole, like, if monsters move around really fast or you're trying to get away, you can't get them to stay in the lightning beam things. If they apply a shock while they're in it, then that might be a good savior thing, but I don't think they do, as it looked like they pulsate. I'll probably pass on this skill. Earthbreaker support will probably be my league starter. I love totem builds, and the fact that I can use this with like slam skills, I think it's going to be pretty interesting. Especially with the Chieftain. I really hope they're good. I want to play totems again. It's my favorite play style, and we will have to see, as I have a feeling my Archmage build's going to get nerfed pretty hard. If it works with Earthquake really good, so the fact that like each totem has its own separate shock, then I'll probably play with Earthquake. If not, I'll try it with Ground Slam. When it comes to Bone Shatter, I'm just not a big fan of single target melee skills. I know it does an AoE, but you still gotta hit the monster first. Not a big fan of stun stuff either, so it's just not for me. When it comes to Defiance Banner, I like the fact that it taunts, but I think the one that lowers enemies' accuracy rating would be a lot better than this one. Shield Crush might be an interesting skill as well. Apparently they're buffing Spectacle Shield Throw as well, so we'll have to see. Apparently this one can shotgun as well, so the single target might not be too bad on it. We will have to see on that one. I don't know if I'll play it or not. The head support I don't think is very good at all. You can only have one Headhunter buff, and the fact that it does extra damage when targets on low life is not very good. You would never use a support gem like this against a boss, and monsters and maps die pretty quick, but it might be slower with all the balance stuff going on. Who knows? We'll have to see with that. Focus Ballista is not something that I'm looking forward to either. A big part of totem defense is being able to move around, and if the ballistas only shoot when you shoot, then you have to stand still. If they made it so you can just put a mark on an enemy and have the things attack that, that would be great, but the fact that you have to attack as well isn't really that good for this, in my opinion. Ambush, I just feel like is going to be a movement skill to close the gap. It's on a charge system as well. You might be able to chunk pretty good with it, but other than that, I don't think it's going to be very good. Flicker Strike would probably be the go-to still for damage and clearing with that. Blade Trap looks really good to me. I'm interested to see what builds people come up with that. Summon Reaper looks pretty neat too. I'm not really a minion guy, but I'd be interested to see what builds people come up with that as well. Battle Mage Cry is not really my style. I'm sure it's great, but just not for me. Mana Bound looks interesting. I think that would be one of those resonant sleeper things with Archmage. If you can keep your mana low enough and then have the Archmage damage bonus plus the low mana cost bonus of the skill, I think it might be pretty chunky. Absolution has potential, but it's not really my thing. Spectral Helix looks pretty interesting too. I was a big fan of Spec Throw back in the day. I'm going to be interested to see if Increased Area of Effect expands the circle or not with it. We'll have to see though. When it comes to the balance changes, I'm kind of excited for it. There needs to be a big shift with it. Like Chris said, the power creep's getting pretty massive in this game now. I hope they focus more on like damage over time on your character. Not like a dot, but just like lots of little hits other than the big one-shots. I think it would be more interesting for hardcore too, is like if you're like slowly dying and getting chased down, it's like you have a chance of making another error or aggroing a bunch of monsters that you weren't planning on. And then having that real like butt pucker moment before you die, or like you get away and you're like, oh, that was really close or something. I want to see more of that than just like, and you're dead. And then there's like more frustration and anger behind the one shots than there is like panicking and then trying to get away or something and realizing that you screwed up or whatever. If they focus on it more that way, then I'll be happy with that for sure. When it comes to the Flask system rework, I'm all for it. I'm sure there's not going to be much of a difference in maps. I just hope with bosses like the ones that require you to kill mobs to get your flash charges back, that you don't get any effect from that. when it comes to how many charges you gain. Other than that, I'm pretty much all for it. As for the 2 new flasks, the Corundum flask does not look appealing to me at all. I honestly think a Cinder Swallow flask with chance to avoid being stunned is way better than that thing. And if the gold flask had just a little bit of item quantity on it, maybe 5 or 10%, it would have made it a lot better. 30% rarity is not really that good in my opinion. Though I will say the curse removal flask and stuff is going to be quite a big nerf. I don't know if people will even be rolling that mod anymore. And then when it comes to the element one, same thing, as you can easily get element immunity through gear and stuff as well. And when it comes to the currency item for the flasks, I think they're okay. Like the one that automatically uses a flask when you get shocked, ignited, or whatever. I think that's a good idea. And the other one where you don't gain flask charges but have bigger flask effect, it will be good for bossing for sure. You can't really gain flask during bosses anyway unless you're killing ads, so it'll be like the perfect time to do it in my opinion. When it comes to the Path of Exile Royale, it just doesn't interest me, so not really going to talk too much about it. If you guys are doing the Royale, let me know what you think of it. Like, is it worth it? Is it fun? Is it kind of cool? And there you have it. That's my video for my first impressions, I guess, of the new league and the changes. If you guys enjoyed the video, please hit the like and subscribe button. It'll help the channel out a lot. It's nice to get back on the YouTube again, and I'll see you guys around when the Balance Manifesto comes out. Probably be a big return of Captain Nerfhammer for that. Take care, guys, and have a great day.